morning, everyone. I appreciate you all joining us for the pre-practice press conference for the UConn Huskies. Please note that the UConn locker room is now open to the media. We are joined this morning by junior forward Aaliyah Edwards and graduate student guard Lou Lopez Seneschal. We will begin with any in-person questions for the student athletes, and if time allows, follow up with any virtual questions. For the in-person folks, please wait until the microphone is handed to you to ask your question, and for the virtual folks, please type your question into the Zoom. We'll start right up front here.
Hi, Patty. Rob from the Associated Press. For both of you, most teams by the time the NCAA tournament rolls around have long had, the lineups, the rotation, the culture, the team all set, and you guys are adding have added two key cogs late in the season. How has that changed the dynamic of this team? And how do you think you guys are doing in terms of figuring out minutes and rotations and how everyone's going to help everyone else out during the tournament?
Yeah, I think, going into the Big East tournament, we had our full team, all 10 players, so it was great to kind of play through those rotations and to kind of get everyone adjusted and everyone back into the lineup. I think just going into tomorrow, we're just going to go with the same mindset of just being competitive. There's going to be different lineups. There's going to be different rotations, but it's something that we're not used to, nothing that we haven't practiced before.
Yeah, I mean, I think she said it all, but throughout the whole year, we were used to, face different situations, and I think that we adjusted really well towards the biggest tournament, and I think now our mentality is just to have the same mindset that we had during that biggest tournament and bring it to the NCAA tournament.
Hi, Paul Llewellyn from Hearst, Connecticut. Can you talk a little bit about this 10-day break and how beneficial it's been, physically, emotionally, mentally, and have you been able to sort of, check out a little bit and, recalibrate?
Yeah, I think it was definitely needed. We needed that time, for ourselves. I think we were focused on the team, on, who we really are, and work on us mainly during those 10 days to be able to, play tomorrow the right way and how the UConn team normally plays. Like we said, we want to bring the same team that we had during the Big East tournament. So I think those 10 days were beneficial to us. And just, as you say, physically, mentally, it was needed.
Hi, Beth with ESPN. Can you guys describe the feeling of having AZ back and as a team sort of being almost as complete as you can be, and what that means just to have her out there and how significant it will be as she gets stronger and stronger?
Yeah, it's great to have AZ back. I think that she brings and provides a lot for our team, both offensively and defensively. To have her back in the rotation opens up the floor for many of us, and it allows us to see more and get more advantages off the other team's mistakes and off of our offensive flow. So I think she just brings a lot of energy and a lot of offensive and defensive threat to the team.
Can you guys describe the identity of this team, especially after what you went through? Is it resilience? Is it and where is your confidence right now that you do have everyone back?
I think, like you said, it's resilience, and I think that we're a very strong team that never gives up, or we never let anything, or we don't let anyone down. The whole team, the whole staff, I think we really stick together, and our identity, we really found it throughout the whole year, sticking together, because it's not been easy at all, but I think all the challenges that we have to face made us stronger, and it helped us to be the team that we are right now and make us ready for the tournament.
A year ago, you were playing for a mid-major against a highly ranked team. How did you approach it when you were on the other side?
It was definitely a different approach. It was my first time being in the NCAA tournament. For me, first, it was just really exciting. You know, it was something that the team haven't done in 20 years. So I was just trying to enjoy the moment, enjoy the whole experience. And we had nothing to lose. You know, we were the underdog, and we were facing one of the best team in the country at that time. So we were just going there, trying to do our best. We gave it our best shot, but I think that I personally approach it as something that I don't know if I was gonna live again. And fortunately, you know, by coming here, I'm lucky enough to be able to live this experience again, and hopefully make it further. But you know, just enjoying the whole experience with the teammates. It's something that I'm gonna do it again this year.
Any other questions for the student athletes? All right. Thanks, Aaliyah. Thanks, Lou.
Thank you.
Pat Eatonroth with the Associated Press. Geno, by this time of the year, most teams have their identity set, their rotation set. You guys have just added 2 key cogs late in the season. How has that affected all of that and your identity, the rotations, and what you expect for the tournament?
Well, obviously, it changes things. As I said earlier this week, you know, in the Big East tournament, we added Caroline and Azzi for the most part. And the last day, we lost Aubrey. So, you know, Aubrey hasn't had a chance to practice until yesterday. So, hopefully she'll be, you know, 100% come tomorrow, or close to it anyway. But it does change, you know, how you go about your rotation. It does change the number of minutes that people play, and it can have an effect on the chemistry and the fluidity. But it's a good problem to have, right? It's better than the other alternative. So bottom line is we got better, and that can only help.
Carl Adamek, Journal-Inquirer. Geno, now that you've had a chance to scout them, what impressed you about Vermont? And second part of the question, do you remember the coach from Vermont when she was a player at Marist at all?
Did we play Marist when she was there? What year?
05-06, the opener in the preseason WNIT.
05, 06.
And Strother senior year. So you don't remember.
Wow. Wow. So many former players have come back to haunt me, right? What impresses me the most about them is, one, they're incredibly well organized. They execute their stuff. They are precise in their offensive flow. You know, flow is a big word anymore. They know what they want to do, and they do it really, really, really well. They play like a team that gets players that maybe were overlooked by bigger programs, and they play like they have something to prove. They're really well coached. You know, what I've seen so far, I really, really like. They remind me of some of the teams in our league.
Coach Jake Russo from the Burlington Free Press up in Vermont. Morgan Valley was one of our best high school players. What makes her such a good coach for you guys, and what made you want to bring her back?
Well, after she won the last game of her first year as a coach to go 1-27 or something, I felt like she had gotten over the hump. I felt so bad for her being caught in that environment, because she's too good a coach to be in an environment like that. You know, everywhere that she's been around the country, she's had a huge impact on their program. And you know, when Shay left and we needed a replacement, I couldn't think of anybody better. You know, she knows the school, she knows our program, she knows the kind of kids we want. She completely buys into the philosophy that we have here, obviously, since she played here, and played here during some iconic times with legendary players. So her view of the game, because of her experiences outside UConn, add a lot. And I think, you know, there's another opportunity in the future for her as a head coach. And she's just a great human being. That's probably as much of a reason as anything else.
Lila Bromberg, the Hartford Current. Vermont is top 10 in the country in scoring defense. What, has stood out about their defense? And also, can you touch a bit more on, why they look to you like a lot of the teams in the Big East?
Well, if you saw a lot of our games, which you did in the Big East, you saw it's not always easy to score points in our league, because those teams are exceptionally well coached defensively, because they have to be. They're not the kind of team that's going to run out there and get 90 on most nights. So they're built around their defense. And as I said earlier, they play really, really hard and they compete. And when you have a team that plays defense like that, when you have a team that's committed like that, they don't have to score a lot of points, even though they shoot the ball really well. Again, they get open shots, and that's all you can ask for. If you look at them on film and take away the Vermont jersey, you would say, what team is that? And they look as good as a lot of teams that we had on our schedule. So it's not anything we haven't seen. I don't think they do anything that's incredibly tricky or complicated. They just execute, and they make you, what was it? It was like a 6-point game in the second quarter, against Indiana. So it's not like they're going to roll in here and go, hey, what do you want the score to be? Thanks for the pregame meal. Even though they did eat at my restaurant last night.
Geno, barring the pandemic years, of course, the trend seems to be attendance up, TV ratings up for women's college basketball. To what do you attribute this, and where do you see things going from here?
That pandemic era, the year of and the year after, I think there was so much apprehension about going out in public and the hassle of going into an arena, and people just being held hostage in their own homes. I think when that kind of opened up, it did open up the gates for people that, I want to go out. I want to go out. I want to go see a game. And we're benefiting from a lot of that. TV ratings are up. I know ours are up. They're the highest they've been since SNY took over our TV rights, which means people enjoy watching close games. They like the fact that there's some semblance of uncertainty over who's going to win. And there's been so many changes in the top 10 all year long, right? Teams are in, they start out at the top, they go out, they come back in. And I think all that creates a level of excitement, you know, and people want to get in. Where do I see it going from here? Well, I think the NCAA, I think the women's basketball committees have a decision to make. Do they want to improve and keep getting better, or do they want to stay the same and revert back to where we were years ago? And a lot of that's going to involve how the game is officiated, how the game is allowed to be played. And this is coming from, you know, a coach who we had the best defense in the country for like 10 years in a row. So I understand playing defense and what it takes and how physical you need to be and how aggressive you need to be. So I'm not complaining about how the game is being coached or how the game is being taught or played. I think the basketball committees have to be very clear with the officials. This is what we're going to call, and this is what we're not going to call. And what are your priorities? And if your priorities are, we want scoring to be up, we want fouls to be down, we want movement on the court, then you have to make those rules and then you have to enforce them. If you're saying it doesn't matter, then say it doesn't matter. And don't leave it up to each conference to decide this is how we're going to play. I think that's the biggest issue going forward. You know, baseball wanted more scoring. They brought the fences in. They lowered the mound. I don't think we can juice up the basketball. That doesn't do us any good. But I do think people like to see that in every sport in America today. You have to understand that the players coming out of high school are different than they were 20 years ago, 15 years ago. They're more skilled than they've ever been in some ways. It's funny, today, 2023 is Paige's junior year. That's exactly 22 years since Diana was a junior in the NCAA tournament in March. The game has changed a lot in those days, but there's still really, 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 really skilled basketball players coming out of high school. I would venture to say there's not as many good basketball players coming out of high school. So what you're being taught at the college level is really, really important because you're basically starting from scratch a lot of times. And that's why you see a lot of these mid-majors, men's and women's, winning so many big games. Because they can't get the absolute best skilled or the absolute best athletes in the country. Look at Sacred Heart, that little guard playing for Sacred Heart. That little kid's a stud, right? Oh, she's 5'3". Who recruited her? Now, there'll be 15 teams trying to get her. So there's a lot of really tough kids at the mid-majors who are making the game exciting and keeping the big schools on their toes.
All right, I apologize, that is all the time that we have.
No, you guys can go. Go ahead, unless somebody's coming in after me. Two more, that's it, you and you.
Okay.
They don't want me to practice.
Yeah. Geno, the first four finished up last night to get down to 64 teams.
Uh-huh.
And two of the teams that didn't get to the 64 are automatic qualifiers. You've always called the NCAA tournament a champions tournament. Do you like the format of the first four with the 11 seeds and the 16 seeds, or would you rather see it be the last 8 at-large teams?
Well, I do think everybody that wins a league championship should be in the NCAA tournament. The question is that being in the NCAA tournament the playing game? Well, I guess it is. You have a chance to win a game and move on. So are there 8 teams that belong to be in there instead of 4? I don't know. Once you get to 8, you're going to say there should be 12. And then you're going to be saying the same thing that as leaked out recently, that, they want 90-some teams in the NCAA tournament, which is really saying we just want a bunch of 7 and 9 teams from the big conferences to be in the tournament, which defeats the whole purpose of the tournament. Like if a team is 7 and 9 in a big conference, aren't you sick of watching them? Wouldn't you rather see a really good team from a mid-major? Like Vermont has their men's and women's teams in the tournament. Isn't that what this tournament's all about? Not another, Power 5. Well, our 7 and 9 team is better than their conference champion. Tough shit. You had a chance to prove it in your own league. You couldn't do it. So I think if you're going to add more teams to the tournament, it's got to be those mid-majors.
Well, I'm just thinking because so many, the feeling about it is that the tournament starts at 64. That there's a feeling that.
Well, now it should be called the tournament should start at 68. Said there's 68 teams in the tournament, not 64.
But that's why I'm wondering if you think that maybe it should be the 8 last at large instead of, if you win your conference championship, you will get that automatic bid. You're in the 60.
Yes, they should. They should. You win your automatic bid in your tournament, you should go. And it's their fault if they have a tournament and their best team doesn't go. You have a team that goes undefeated in the regular season in a one-bid league, and they get upset in the tournament. They don't get to go. It's a travesty. Why are you having a tournament? You're not making any money on it. And you're not getting extra teams in the tournament. So you're penalizing the best team in the league if they don't win. They already spent 5 months proving it. For us and the other conferences, we're given an opportunity to 1 or 2 schools in our league to win a game or 2 in the conference tournament, and then they'll get in because they're that close. So they could help themselves a lot more by not having a tournament.
Geno, Aaliyah was named a third-team All-American this week. What are your thoughts on just seeing her being recognized at that national level, and what do you want her to focus on most during the tournament?
Well, I think she deserved that and more, maybe, the way the season went and what we had to deal with, the amount of changes in our lineup and going through periods where there was, very little production from our guards, and all the, all the weight of scoring fell on her and Dorka, to a certain extent. So I think it was well-deserved, and she probably could have gotten more. I think the biggest thing for Aaliyah now going forward is what is it that you feel like you can do to get to that next level where you're looked upon as a first-team All-American? What is it? Because you probably know what it is. The kids always know what it is. They don't like to admit it. What's that line? The truth will set you free, but it hurts like hell in the beginning, right? So sometimes you just have to be honest and say to yourself, okay, what do I have to get better at? And every kid that I've ever had here that's become an All-American, That's what they did. They went home and they figured out, all right, I'm at this level. What do I have to get better at to get to the next level? And they do. Whether you want to be a better shooter, you want to be a better defender, you want to be, you know, a more dominant post player, whatever it is. Because Aaliyah is very, very good at a lot of things. Now it's going to turn out to be, what am I willing to do to become great at one of those things? You know, Gabby became a great defender and guarded everybody on the floor and made first-team All-American. Stephanie Dolson became the best passing big man and the best defensive big man in America. So there's got to be something that you can have that's better than anybody else's. And she's really, really close, and now that's the next step for her. All right, sad to say, I have to leave.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome. Thank you.
First, I think it's 15 minutes of UConn's practice will be open starting at 11:30, which is in 4 minutes.
See, I'm not.
Tell that to see.
No,